All aboard. The Southampton is cruising around the Mediterranean Sea. There are a lot of tourists on the ship. Most of them are English, but some of them are American, Australian or Canadian. It's the 6th day of the cruise, and their ship is sailing from Genoa to Naples. All of the passengers and most of the crew are on deck for the captain's party.
Hello, my name's Charles Beatty. I'm from Chicago.
Pleased to meet you. I'm Wendy Hillman.
Where do you come from?
I come from Stirling.
Oh, where's that?
It's in Scotland.
What an awful party.
Oh, do you think so?
Yes, I do. Oh, by the way, my name's Green.
My name's Nelson.
I work in a bank. What do you do?
Well, I'm the captain of this ship. It's my party.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
Would you like another drink?
Pardon?
Would you like another drink?
Oh, yes, please. I'd like an orange juice.
With ice?
No, thanks.
Telephoning.
Director inquiries, which town, please?
Oxford.
What name, please?
Oxford University Press, Walton Street.
That's Oxford 56767.
Thank you. Can you tell me the code for Oxford?
0865.
Thanks. Goodbye.
MacDonald and Company, can I help you?
I'd like to speak to Mr. Walker, please.
Mr. Walker? Which department is he in?
Accounts.
Hold on. Trying to connect you. All right. You're through.
Number, please.
Oh, I'd like to make a transfer charge call.
Where to?
Stratford.
What number?
17414.
What's your name, please?
Joan Fitzgerald.
Can you spell that?
Fitzgerald.
And where are you calling from?
019926636.
Right. Hold the line, please.
Who are you telephoning?
Nobody.
Well, why are you holding the phone?
My watch has stopped.
I don't understand.
I'm phoning the speaking clock. Listen.
At the third stroke, it will be 8:52 and 30 seconds. Fizz is fantastic.
Let's meet Mrs. Edna Campbell from Glasgow. This is her kitchen, and on the table there are 2 piles of dirty clothes. Mrs. Campbell's got 3 young children, and she has to do a lot of washing. Now, we've got 2 identical British Electric automatic washing machines in the kitchen. Mrs. Campbell's going to wash this pile of clothes in new Fizz detergent, and that pile in another well-known washing powder. Now both machines are working. And Mrs. Campbell's making us a cup of tea. Ah, both machines have stopped, and she's taken the clothes out of them. Well, Mrs. Campbell, what do you think?
Well, I've washed these clothes in Fizz and those clothes in the other powder.
Can you see any difference?
Ah, yes. These clothes are much cleaner, and they're whiter and softer than the others.
These clothes? You washed these clothes in new Fizz.
That's right. Oh, it's much better than my usual powder. My clothes have never been cleaner than this.
Well, which powder are you going to buy next time?
New Fizz, of course. It's the best powder I've ever used.
Olympic report.
Good evening, it's 11:15, and it's time for Olympic report. Our report tonight is coming live by satellite from the Olympic Games.
Good evening.
Well, today's most important event was certainly the women's 200 metres freestyle. The American, Doris Kennedy, was first and got the gold medal. She swam the 200 metres in a new world record time of 1 minute 58 seconds. The USA won 2 gold medals yesterday and 3 the day before, so in the first 3 days they've won 6 golds.
This is Jack Lumber from Canada. This morning he won the men's javelin final. At his first attempt he threw the javelin over 100 metres. Nobody has ever done this before. Unfortunately, there was nearly a terrible accident in the javelin event. Henry Fraser, the British competitor, slipped when he was throwing his javelin, and it hit a judge in the foot. Luckily, it didn't hurt him.
Here we are in the Olympic gymnasium. Olga Ivanov, the 15-year-old Russian gymnast, has just finished her display. We're waiting for the results now. And here's the result. She's got an average of 9.5 points. That's the best score today. Olga's won the gold medal.
We're just waiting for the last jumper. Ted Kelly from Britain is going to jump. The bar is at 2 metres 30. Now he's beginning his final attempt. And he's jumped. Oh, he's crashed into the bar. He's landing. The bar's fallen. Is he hurt? No, he's all right. He's getting up and walking away, but he's a very disappointed man.
I'll be there.
Psst. He'll be here tomorrow night.
Will he? What time?
About 8 o'clock.
Will he be at the station?
No. He'll be at the airport.
Right. I'll be there. Will he be alone?
No, he won't. He'll be with his wife.
Will you be there?
Yes. I'll be outside in the White Rover.
What about the money?
Don't worry. It'll be there.
Okay. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Monday morning.
What's the matter?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, come on. It's something. What is it?
It's just life. It's so boring.
Oh, it's not so bad. You've got Daniel.
But he's only a baby. It's all right for you. You'll leave the house in 5 minutes. I'll be here all day. When'll you come home? You won't come home till 7.
One of us must go to work, dear.
Yes, but your day'll be interesting. My day'll be the same as every day.
My work isn't always interesting.
I know, but you travel around. You meet different people, and you do different things. Who'll I meet today? What'll I do? Eh? I'll wash up, feed the baby, do the washing, clean the house, bath the baby, take the dog for a walk.
Dear.
Then I'll go to the supermarket, prepare dinner, meet you at the station, have dinner, wash up again.
Dear.
And then I'll feed the baby again, put the baby to bed. Oh, what a life. Today, tomorrow, this week, this month, next year, forever.
It's just Monday, dear. You'll be okay later.
Will I?
Dr. So-and-so. Dr. So-and-so is the Secretary-General of the United Nations. He's one of the busiest men in the world. He's just arrived at New Delhi Airport now. The Indian Prime Minister is meeting him. Later they'll talk about Asian problems. Yesterday he was in Moscow. He visited the Kremlin and had lunch with Soviet leaders. During lunch they discussed international politics. Tomorrow he'll fly to Nairobi. He'll meet the President of Kenya and other African leaders. He'll be there for 12 hours. The day after tomorrow he'll be in London. He'll meet the British Prime Minister and they'll talk about European economic problems. Next week he'll be back at the United Nations in New York. Next Monday he'll speak to the General Assembly about his world tour. Then he'll need a short holiday. At the chemist's.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can I help you?
Yes, I've got a terrible headache.
Oh, how long have you had it?
Only about 2 or 3 hours.
Well, try these tablets. Take 2 with water every 3 hours.
Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'd like a toothbrush, please.
Nylon or natural bristle?
Nylon, please.
Hard, soft or medium?
Medium, please.
What colour would you like?
It doesn't matter, really. Oh, white's okay.
There you are.
Could I have a tube of toothpaste, please?
With fluoride or without fluoride?
With fluoride, please.
Is that all, sir?
Yes, that's all, thank you.
Shall I put it in a bag?
Please.
Good evening. Good evening. Can you make up this prescription, please?
Certainly. Would you like to wait?
How long will it take?
It'll be ready in 20 minutes.
Oh, I'll come back later.
All right, sir.
Shall I pay now or later?
Later will be all right.
Lord Worth.
Come in.
Yes, sir.
No, no, Mary, I don't want you.
Who do you want, sir?
I want James. I want him immediately.
Yes, sir. I'll go and find him.
Ah, James.
Did you want to see me, sir?
Yes. I wanted to see you 20 minutes ago.
Sorry, sir. I was in the garage.
I want a car this afternoon.
Which car do you want, sir? The Rolls, the Mercedes, or the Ferrari?
The Rolls, I think. Yes, the Rolls.
Where do you want to go, sir?
Heathrow Airport, Terminal 2.
What time, sir?
We'll leave here after lunch at 2 o'clock. Ah, Charles.
Yes, sir.
I want an early lunch today, Charles.
Yes, sir. What time?
12 o'clock. Oh, and I want you to reserve a table at the Savoy for 7 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
And I want Mary to prepare the guest room for Sir Thomas. I want her to make a special effort. Sir Thomas is a very important guest.
Yes, sir. Anything else, sir?
No, Charles, that's all.
Look, feel, taste, sound, smell.
I like your fur coat, Helen.
Do you?
Yes. It looks very expensive.
Really? It wasn't expensive. It was second-hand.
Was it? It doesn't look second-hand. It looks brand new.
Oh, it feels cold in here.
Does it?
Yes. Is the radiator on?
Yes, it is. It'll feel warmer in a minute.
Waiter! These vegetables aren't fresh.
But they are fresh, sir.
Well, they don't taste fresh to me.
I'm sorry, sir, but...
And the wine. It tastes sweet. And I asked for dry.
I'll get the manager, sir.
Listen to my new hi-fi, John. Does it sound all right?
Yes. Sounds fine to me.
I think the bass is too loud.
No. Sounds perfect. It sounds better than mine.
Have you changed your perfume?
Yes. Why, do you like it?
Yes. It smells terrific. What kind is it?
It's Charlie.
It smells expensive. Is it?
I don't know. It was a present.
A science fiction story. The spaceship flew around the new planet several times. The planet was blue and green. They couldn't see the surface of the planet because there were too many white clouds. The spaceship descended slowly through the clouds and landed in the middle of a green forest. The two astronauts put on their spacesuits, opened the door, climbed carefully down the ladder, and stepped onto the planet. The woman looked at a small control unit on her arm. "It's all right," she said to the man. "We can breathe the air. It's a mixture of oxygen and nitrogen." Both of them took off their helmets and breathed deeply. They looked at everything carefully. All the plants and animals looked new and strange. They couldn't find any intelligent life. After several hours, they returned to their spaceship. Everything looked normal. The man switched on the controls, but nothing happened. "Something's wrong," he said. "I don't understand. The engines aren't working." He switched on the computer, but that didn't work either. "Eve," he said, "we're stuck here. We can't take off." "Don't worry, Adam," she replied. "They'll rescue us soon."
It's much too hot.
Come on, Susan, hurry up. Drink your coffee. The train's leaving in a minute. We'll be late.
I can't finish it. It's much too hot for me to drink.
Why don't you put some milk in?
I don't like white coffee. Oh, okay.
There. Is it cool enough for you to drink now?
Yes, but it tastes awful. Oh, there's the train. Bring the cases.
Ooh! What have you got in these cases?
Only clothes. Why? Are they heavy?
Yes, they are.
Oh, the taxi driver managed to carry them.
Well, they're too heavy for me to carry.
Well, I'm not strong enough to help you. Porter! Oh, Michael, I didn't tell you. My sister phoned yesterday.
Oh? Which sister? Andrea?
Yes, she wants to get married.
Married? But she isn't old enough to get married. She's only 17. Who's she going to marry?
Basil Caraway.
Basil Caraway? I don't believe it. He's much too old for her. He's over 60.
I know, but she loves him. Oh, no! That was the last bus home and we've missed it.
Well, let's walk. It's a nice warm evening.
It's 4 miles. It's too far for me to walk. Call a taxi.
A taxi? My name isn't Rockefeller. We aren't rich enough to travel everywhere by taxi.
Michael, you've forgotten something.
What?
We've got 3 suitcases. Do you really want to walk?
Okay. Taxi!
A phone call. Hello?
Mary, is that you?
Yes, Mary here. Who's speaking?
It's Mike.
Mike? Mike who?
What do you mean, Mike who? Mike Connors, of course.
Oh, Mike. I'm sorry.
Yes, we had a date last night. Where were you?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike. I couldn't come.
Couldn't come? Why couldn't you come?
Well, I had to wash my hair.
Wash your hair? Why didn't you phone me?
I wanted to phone you, but I couldn't remember your number.
But it's in the telephone directory.
Yes, I know, but I couldn't remember your surname.
Oh. But why did you have to wash your hair last night?
Well, I had to do it last night because I'm going to the opera tonight.
The opera? Who with?
George Johnson, my boss's son.
I see.
He asked me yesterday. I didn't want to go, but I couldn't say no.
Army Careers Office.
Good morning. Are you the new cleaner?
No, I'm not. I want to join the army.
What? You? In the army?
Yes, I want to be a soldier. This is the Army Careers Office, isn't it?
Well, yes. Sit down, sir.
Thanks.
Now, why do you want to be a soldier, Mr.
Briggs. Tommy Briggs. Well, I saw the ad on television last night and it looked nice. Holidays, money, girls, pension, travel.
I see. Yes, it's a good life in the army. It's a man's life.
Ah.
Now, have you got any questions?
Yes. Will I have to get a haircut?
A haircut? Oh, yes, you'll have to get a haircut. And wear a uniform.
A uniform?
Oh, yes, and you'll have to obey orders. But you won't have to clean the toilets, you know. I've never had to clean the toilets.
What about the work? Will I have to work hard?
Oh, yes, you'll have to work hard. But all the girls like a man in uniform, you know.
And what about promotion?
Oh, yes, there are a lot of opportunities. Perhaps you'll be a general one day.
OK, I'd like to join.
Yes, sir. Just sign your name here.
There you are. Tommy Briggs.
Briggs!
Hey?
Shut up! Stand up straight! Now, quick, march! Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right.
A traffic survey. The city of Oxford has got a traffic problem. It's an old town and the streets are narrow. There are too many cars and not enough parking spaces in the city centre. The planning department wanted to change the traffic system, and so they conducted a traffic survey. They asked a lot of people these 5 questions. 1. How old are you? 2. Can you drive? 3. How long have you been able to drive? 4. Where do you live? 5. How do you come to town? Here are some of the results. Mr. Brown's 58. He learned to drive when he was 18. He's been able to drive for 40 years. He lives in the country, 20 miles from Oxford. He always comes into town by car. Mary McIntosh is 20. She's had a lot of driving lessons. She's taken the driving test 3 times, but she hasn't been able to pass the test yet. She lives near the city centre, and she usually walks to work. Bob Brewer's 25. He's been able to drive for 2 years, but he hasn't got a car. He hasn't been able to save enough money. He lives in a village outside Oxford. He comes into Oxford by train. Mr. and Mrs. Wilson are both over 65. They've never been able to drive. They've never learned. They live in a suburb of Oxford, and they occasionally come into town by bus. Australia House.
Now, Mr. Jones, why do you want to go to Australia?
Well, I'm really thinking about my children. You see, there aren't many opportunities here. I lost my job last year and I haven't been able to find another one. Will I be able to find a job in Australia?
What do you do?
I'm an electrician.
Ah, you'll be able to find a job easily.
What about accommodation? Will I be able to find a house?
Well, that is a problem, but there are hostels for new immigrants.
And what about my children?
You'll be able to find a good school in Australia. Now, why do you want to emigrate to Australia, Mrs. Baxter?
It's Miss Baxter.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
That's all right. Well, you see, I've never been able to find the right man in England.
Well, Miss Baxter, I can't promise anything, but there are a lot of men in Australia.
Will I be able to find a tall, dark, handsome man there?
Ah, Miss Baxter, this is Australia House, not a marriage bureau. Come in, take a seat. Mr. Cook, isn't it?
That's right.
Now, why do you want to go to Australia, Mr. Cook?
I don't. I just want to leave England.
Pardon? What qualifications have you got?
Qualifications? Oh, I've never been able to pass any exams.
Well, what will you be able to do in Australia? How will you earn a living?
I don't know. But I won't be able to work very hard. I've got a bad back.
Checks and credit.
Next, please.
I'd like to cash this cheque, please.
Yes, madam, £30. Oh, you haven't signed it yet, madam?
Oh, haven't I? Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Here you are.
Thank you. How would you like the money?
4 5s and 10 1s, please.
I'd like to change these francs, please.
Yes, sir. How many francs have you got?
200. What's the rate of exchange, please?
The current rates are on the notice board, sir.
I'd like to buy this, but I haven't got enough cash with me. Do you take traveller's cheques?
Certainly, sir.
Good. How much is that?
It's £30.
What's the exchange rate?
Oh, I'm not sure, sir. I'll go and check.
Good morning. Can I help you?
Yes, my name's Davis. I'm expecting some money from my bank in Toronto.
By post, cable or telex, sir?
By telex.
Let me see. Ah, yes. Davis. £200 from the Royal Bank of Canada, Toronto. Have you got any identification, sir?
Well, I haven't got my passport, but I've got my driving license. Will that be all right?
Yes, sir. That'll be all right.
A holiday in Egypt.
I looked through this brochure last night, and I'd like to book the summer holiday in Egypt.
Yes, sir. The Hotel Cleopatra?
That's right. How far is it from the hotel to the beach?
About a 2-minute walk.
Good. How hot is it in Egypt in July?
About 28 degrees centigrade.
And that's the Great Pyramid, Mr. Harris.
Oh, yes. It looks very high.
It's about 137 meters high.
How long are the sides?
They're 230 meters long.
It's incredible. How old is it?
It's nearly 4,500 years old.
We're going through the Suez Canal now.
It doesn't look very wide. How wide is it?
About 60 meters. And it's 162 kilometers long.
Really? This is a big ship. How deep is the canal?
The average depth is about 10 meters, but they're going to make it deeper. Hello there, Mr. Harris. Are you coming on the excursion to Cairo today?
Oh, yes. How far is it?
It's about 150 kilometers.
Good. How long will it take to get there?
Only 3 hours.
Comparisons. Mr. and Mrs. Kent are old-age pensioners. They go to the shops every Saturday. They have to walk up a very steep hill between their house and the shops. They both walk slowly. Mr. Kent always has to wait for his wife at the top of the hill, because Mrs. Kent walks more slowly than Mr. Kent. Diana and Margaret work in the same office. They're both good typists because they type carefully. Diana never makes a mistake, and Margaret rarely makes a mistake. Diana types more carefully than Margaret. Some drivers occasionally have accidents, but Alan and David are very careless drivers. Alan has already had 2 accidents this year, and David has had a lot. David drives even more carelessly than Alan. Both Carlos and Miguel are good students. They speak English well, but Miguel has spent a year in England, so he speaks English better than Carlos. Tyneside United and Humber Rovers are both near the bottom of the 4th Division. The football season has nearly finished, and Tyneside have won only 1 match. They've played very badly. Humber Rovers haven't won a match yet, and they haven't scored a goal. Humber have played even worse than Tyneside. Tony and Jim work for a construction company. They're very hard workers. They work about 12 hours a day. Tony often works at weekends. He earns more money than Jim because he works harder than Jim.
A day off work. Bill Walker works for an import-export company. Last Wednesday morning, Bill rang his office at 9 o'clock. His boss, Mr. Thompson, answered the phone.
Hello, Thompson here.
Hello, this is Bill Walker.
Oh, hello, Bill.
I'm afraid I can't come to work today, Mr. Thompson.
Oh, what's the problem?
I've got a very sore throat.
Yes, you sound ill on the phone.
Yes, I'll stay in bed today, but I'll be able to come tomorrow.
Oh, that's all right, Bill. Stay in bed until you feel well enough to work.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Bill.
Mr. Thompson liked Bill very much. At 12:30 he got into his car, drove to a shop and bought some fruit for him. He went to Bill's flat and rang the doorbell. Bill's wife, Susan, answered the door.
Oh, Mr. Thompson. Hello. How are you?
Fine, thanks, Susan. I've just come to see Bill. How is he?
Oh, he doesn't look very well. I wanted him to see the doctor.
I'll go in and see him. Hello, Bill.
Oh, hello. Hello, Mr. Thompson.
I've brought some fruit for you, Bill.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thompson.
Well, I had to pass your house anyway.
How's your throat?
It seems a little better. I'll be okay tomorrow.
Well, don't come in until you feel better.
All right, but I'm sure I'll be able to come in tomorrow.
Bye, Bill.
Goodbye, Mr. Thompson.
At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Mr. Thompson locked his office door and switched on his portable television. He wanted to watch an important international football match. It was England against Brazil. Both teams were playing well, but neither team could score a goal. The crowd were cheering and booing. It was very exciting. Then at 3:20, England scored from a penalty. Mr. Thompson jumped out of his chair. He was very excited. He was smiling happily when suddenly the cameraman focused on the crowd. Mr. Thompson's smile disappeared, and he looked very angry. Bill Walker's face, in close-up, was there on the screen. He didn't look ill, and he didn't sound ill. He was smiling happily and cheering wildly. Applying for a job.
Come in, come in. It's Mr. Chandler, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. How do you do?
How do you do? Please take a seat.
Thank you very much.
Well, I've got your application form here. I just want to check the information. Is that all right?
Yes, of course.
Now, you're 31, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
And you aren't married, are you?
No, I'm not. Not yet.
Mm-hmm. You went to secondary school and technical college, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
But you didn't go to university, did you?
No, I didn't. I started work when I was 20.
I see. You can speak French and Russian, can't you?
Yes, I can, but not fluently. I speak French better than Russian.
But you can't speak Spanish, can you?
No. No, I can't.
You've been to France, haven't you?
Yes, I have. And to Germany and Russia.
So I see. But you haven't been to the Middle East, have you?
No, I'm afraid I haven't. But I'd like to.
Good. Come in, please sit down. It's Miss Wallace.
Yes, that's right. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Well, I've looked through your application. Can I just check the information?
Of course.
Now, you're 22.
Yes, I am.
You aren't married?
No, I'm not, but I'm engaged.
You didn't go to technical college or university?
No, I didn't.
But you learned to type at secondary school?
Yes, I did.
You can speak French and Italian?
Yes, I can, but I can write them better than I can speak them.
I see. You've been to Switzerland?
Yes, I have, and Italy.
And you can take shorthand?
Yes, I studied it at school.
4 disasters.
Good evening. Our programme tonight is about disasters. This year there have been fires, plane crashes, earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. All our guests tonight have survived disasters.
Hi, I'm Bill Daniels. I live in Chicago. I was working in my office on the 28th floor of a skyscraper. I was dictating some letters to my secretary when the fire bell rang. I rushed out to the lift, but it wasn't working. The stairs were full of thick smoke. We couldn't go down, so we had to go up to the roof. When we got there, some people were waiting calmly. Others were shouting and screaming wildly. A helicopter managed to land on the roof and rescued 6 of us before the building collapsed.
My name's Martha Huggins. I was on holiday in the South Pacific, and I was staying on Pagohiti, a small island. I was having a rest when the volcano erupted. The noise woke me up. I looked through the window. Everybody was running towards the harbor. I just put on a coat and ran to the harbor, too. I managed to get on a ship. It was leaving when the lava hit the town.
Hello, I'm George Green. I'm a farmer. I was working in the field behind my house when I saw the plane. It was on fire. Smoke was coming from the engines, and it was coming down fast. I was running towards my house when it crashed into the trees behind me. I heard a terrible explosion. When I woke up, I was lying in an hospital bed.
Good evening. My name's Michael Pert. My wife and I were staying with friends on Santa Monica in the Caribbean. We were having dinner when the earthquake began. Everything shook. All the plates and food fell onto the floor. We were picking everything up when the ceiling fell onto us. We couldn't move, and we had to wait for 3 hours before help arrived. Travelling by air.
Can I check in here for the British Airways flight to New York?
Yes, sir. May I see your ticket and your passport?
Here you are.
That's fine. Can you put your suitcase on the scales, please?
Of course. How much does it weigh?
23 kilos. I'm sorry, but you'll have to pay an excess baggage charge.
Oh, it's only 3 kilos overweight.
Yes, sir. That's £6. Thank you. Would you like to go through to the departure lounge?
British Airways Flight 179 to New York is now boarding at Gate 4.
Excuse me.
Yeah?
I didn't hear that announcement. Which flight did they call?
Flight 179 to New York. Are you going there?
Yes.
So am I. Gate 4's this way. Follow me.
May I search you, sir? It's just a security check.
Of course.
Thank you. Ah, what's this in your pocket?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. It's just a metal comb.
May I see it, sir?
Certainly. Here it is.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Captain Gibson and his crew welcome you aboard British Airways Flight 179 to New York. We're now flying at a height of 30,000 feet. Our speed is approximately 600 miles an hour. We'll land in New York in 5.5 hours. The temperature in New York is now minus 3 degrees centigrade. In a few minutes, you'll be able to see the Irish coast. Our stewards and stewardesses will serve lunch in half an hour.
I've cut myself.
Oh! This knife's sharp. I've cut myself.
Oh, let me see it. It's okay. You haven't cut yourself badly. It's only a scratch.
But my finger's bleeding.
Oh, don't be a baby. It isn't bleeding much. I'll get a bandage. Did you see the play on television last night?
No, I didn't. What was it?
Romeo and Juliet. I cried.
Cried? Why?
Well, it was very sad. At the end, Romeo killed himself, and then Juliet killed herself.
Sounds silly to me. Why do they kill themselves?
For love.
They were silly, weren't they?
Now, my guests tonight are the two rock musicians, Dean and Darren Osborne.
Hello.
Now, you both play the guitar very well. Did anyone teach you?
No, we just bought some guitars and we taught ourselves.
I see.
Sorry I'm late.
Oh, that's all right, Mrs. Green.
It was our first wedding anniversary yesterday.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. We went to that new restaurant in the High Street.
Did you enjoy yourselves?
Oh, yes. We had a very good time. We had 2 bottles of champagne.
Have you seen my new electric cooker?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's got an automatic timer. It can switch itself on and off.
Choosing a pet.
Good afternoon, madam. Can I help you?
Yes, I'm looking for a pet for my son. Can you suggest anything?
What kind of pet does he want? A traditional pet, a cat or a dog, or something unusual?
Well, he'd like a snake or a crocodile, but he isn't going to get one.
We've got a nice Alsatian dog at the moment.
An Alsatian? Did you say an Alsatian? Oh, no. I've read about them in the paper. They're very big and savage.
Oh, no, madam. They aren't as savage as some dogs.
Really?
Oh, yes. Last week we had a small dog. It was only as big as your handbag, but it was as savage as a tiger. It bit me 3 times.
Perhaps not a dog, then.
How about a cat?
A cat? They aren't as friendly as dogs, are they?
No, but they don't eat as much as dogs either. And they're very clean. They wash themselves every day.
Oh.
Or how about a bird? A parrot or a budgie? We've got both.
Which do you recommend?
Well, budgies aren't as easy to train, and they never speak as well as parrots.
Yes, but budgies don't need as much space as parrots, do they?
That's true. Budgies are very popular because they're so easy to keep.
Yes, but they're a bit noisy, aren't they? I want a quiet pet.
A quiet pet? Well, how about a goldfish? There's nothing as quiet as a goldfish.
Checking an alibi. There was a bank robbery in central London yesterday. Just before closing time yesterday, a robber entered the Butcher Street branch of the National Westminster Bank. He was carrying a shotgun and wearing a stocking mask over his head. There were only a few customers in the bank at the time. He made them lie on the floor while the cashier was putting the money in a sack. As he was leaving, the security guard tried to ring the alarm. The robber shot him, and the guard is now in St. Patrick's Hospital. Surgeons are trying to save his life. Last night the police arrested a man in South London. He is now helping the police with their inquiries.
On Tuesday afternoon, I was at Ascot Races with my girlfriend, Isadora Bell. We left my flat at 1 o'clock in my white Jaguar and drove to Ascot. We didn't stop for petrol, but we had lunch in a pub. I don't remember the name of the pub, but it was somewhere between London and Ascot. We had beer and sandwiches outside. We arrived at the racetrack at 1:55 in time for the first race. We stayed there until the last race at 5 o'clock.
We were very lucky. I won a lot of money, but I can't remember exactly how much. That's why I had a lot of money with me when the police came to my flat at 5:30. I left Isadora in central London. She wanted to buy some clothes in Oxford Street. I don't know where she is now. You're John Alfred Smithers.
Yes, I am.
You're 36.
Yes, that's right. It was my birthday yesterday.
You sell cars.
Yes, I do. And other things.
You live in Ealing.
Yes, I do. I've lived here all my life.
You went to Ascot races yesterday.
That's right.
You weren't alone.
No, I wasn't. I was with Isadora Bell.
But you're married, Smithers.
Yes, but I haven't seen my wife for 3 years.
I see. Now, you left your flat at 1 o'clock.
Yes, about 1 o'clock.
You were in your Jaguar.
Yes, I was.
You didn't stop for petrol.
No.
You had lunch in an Indian restaurant.
Oh, no, we didn't. We had lunch in a pub.
You don't remember the name of the pub?
No, I'm afraid I don't.
You had chicken and chips.
No. We had beer and sandwiches outside.
You arrived in time for the first race and stayed until the last race.
Yes.
You were very lucky.
Yes, I was.
You won £5,000.
No, I can't remember exactly how much.
There was £5,000 in your flat.
Was there?
You don't know where Miss Bell is now?
No, I'm not her husband.
But you left her in central London because she wanted to buy some clothes.
Yes.
It's very interesting, Mr. Smithers. You've got a very fast car.
What do you mean?
The last race at Ascot began late and it didn't finish until 5:25. So you drove from Ascot to central London and back to Ealing in 35 minutes in the rush hour. That's impossible, Mr. Smithers.
Dinner with friends.
Hello. Hello, Ken. Hello, Barbara. Come in. Shall I take your coat?
Oh, thank you very much. What a lovely house.
I'm glad you like it. Dinner's nearly ready.
Where's Anna?
Oh, she's in the kitchen. She'll be here in a minute. Just go into the dining room. How about a drink before dinner?
That's a nice idea.
Here we are.
Ah.
Dinner's ready. Sit down, everybody.
Thank you very much, Anna. Everything looks wonderful. It smells delicious, too.
I'll put the salad in the middle of the table. Shall I serve you?
No, it's all right. We can help ourselves.
Yes.
Rob, could you pour the wine, please?
Yeah.
Ken, help yourself to vegetables, too.
Would you like some more brandy, Barbara?
Oh, no thanks. No more for me. I'm driving tonight.
Oh, come on. Just a small one.
No, really, I mustn't. I'll help Anna with the washing up.
Washing up? No, don't worry. We always leave that until the morning. Here are your coats.
Thanks. It's been a marvellous evening. It was very kind of you to invite us.
Don't mention it. It was nice to see you again.
Well, we enjoyed ourselves very much.
I'm glad. You must come again.
Good night. And thanks again.
Good night. And drive carefully. It's a very wet night.
The bad boy of British football.
Stanley Walsh, the Eastfield United football star, is in the news again. Yesterday he didn't arrive for a training session. Last night, Brian Huff, Eastfield's manager, was very angry. Stanley has had a lot of arguments with Huff. Huff spoke to our reporter last night.
Where is Stanley, Mr. Huff?
We don't know.
When did you last see him?
We spoke to each other 5 days ago. I haven't seen him since then.
How angry are you?
Very. This is the end. Stanley Walsh won't play for us again.
But Stanley's the best player in England, isn't he? Did he give a reason?
No, he didn't.
Has Stanley got any personal problems, Mr. Huff?
I don't know. But he's a very selfish man. He only thinks about himself.
Our reporter later spoke to Mrs. Lucy Walsh in her £50,000 apartment.
Where is Stanley, Mrs. Walsh?
I don't know, and I don't care.
When did you last see him?
We haven't seen each other for 2 weeks.
Have you spoken to each other? Or written to each other recently?
No, we never want to see each other again.
But why, Mrs. Walsh?
Ask Stanley. Our reporter found Stanley at his villa in Spain. He was with Inga Carlson, the Swedish actress. He seemed very happy.
How long have you known each other, Stanley?
We met each other in a disco 3 weeks ago. It was love at first sight.
But what about your football?
Oh, football can wait. Inga's the most important thing in my life. We love each other very much and we understand each other.
And your wife, Stanley? What about your wife?
Oh, that finished a long time ago.
What happened?
Well, I was in love with Lucy for a long time. We taught each other a lot, but...
But what?
Well, we started to hate each other. We couldn't even look at each other.
So what are you going to do next?
I don't know. Ask Inga.
So am I.
I'm on holiday next month.
So am I.
I need a change.
So do I. I'm tired of the same office and the same people every day.
Where are you going?
Spain.
Oh, I went there last year.
So did I. We always go to Spain, but we never go to the Costa Brava.
No, neither do I. There are too many English people there.
Where exactly are you going?
San Pedro. It's a little village on the north coast.
You're joking.
No, I'm not. I've been there 3 times.
So have we. And we're going there this year, too.
Not to the Hotel del Sol.
Yes. Why?
Well, I'll see you. I'm staying there too.
I'm happy.
So am I.
I'm not crazy.
Neither am I.
I'm not a student.
I am.
I'm a teacher.
I'm not.
I've got a book.
So have I.
I haven't got a Rolls Royce.
Neither have I.
I haven't got any money.
I have.
I've got an electronic watch.
I haven't.
I like music.
So do I.
I don't like snakes.
Neither do I.
I don't eat meat.
I do.
I come to school on Sundays.
I don't.
I was here last week.
So was I.
I wasn't late this morning.
Neither was I.
I wasn't at home yesterday evening.
I was.
I was at the cinema last night.
I wasn't.
I studied mathematics at school.
So did I.
I didn't go to the cinema last night.
Neither did I.
I didn't play sports at school.
I did.
I had wine with dinner last night.
I didn't.
A family problem.
Flat 4, 185 Kings Road, Chelsea, London SW3, 5th of May 1979. Dear Daddy, thank you very much for the birthday present. I was very pleased with the Ferrari, but I didn't like the colour, so I'm going to change it. I saw Tom again yesterday. You're worried about him, aren't you? Well, don't worry about him. He's all right. He's very good at his job. He's a drummer in a pop group. I'm going to bring him for dinner next weekend so you can meet him. Love, Samantha. P.S. We love each other very much. He isn't interested in your money.
Dear Samantha, I'm sorry about last weekend. I was very angry with Tom, but he was very rude to me. I'm not a stupid old fool. I'm tired of long-haired young men. He didn't even dress for dinner. You love him, I know. I just feel sorry for you, and I'm worried about your future. Tom likes pop music. He isn't interested in anything else. He isn't interested in you at all. You're making a terrible mistake. And I'm glad he isn't interested in my money, because he isn't going to get any. Love, Daddy.
The yes-no contest.
Good evening. I'm Martin Smiles. Welcome to the yes-no contest. Now, the rules are very simple. I'm going to ask questions for 30 seconds. You mustn't answer with yes or no, and you mustn't nod or shake your head. Well, here's our first contestant, Mrs. Alice Leach from Nottingham. What's your name?
Alice. Alice Leach.
Where are you from, Alice?
Nottingham.
Did you say Birmingham?
No, Nottingham.
Oh, dear, I am sorry, Mrs. Leach. Now, our next contestant is Ralph Milton from Blackpool. It's Mr. Milton, isn't it?
That's right.
Good. You aren't nervous, are you?
I'm not nervous.
Did you shake your head?
I didn't.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Oh, I'm dreadfully sorry. Better luck next time, Mr. Milton. Now, here's our third contestant. It's Brian Tankard from Bristol. Hello, Brian.
Hello.
You work in a bank, don't you?
That's correct.
Do you like your job?
I enjoy it very much.
Oh, do you?
I said I enjoy it very much.
Now, you aren't married, are you?
I am married.
Is your wife here tonight?
She's at home.
So she isn't here?
Of course not.
Have you got any children?
I've got 2 children.
2 boys?
A boy and a girl.
And you did say you enjoyed... Oh, that's 30 seconds. Well done. You've done it. Isn't that wonderful, everybody? He's won tonight's star prize, a brand new fully automatic dishwasher.
I used to.
Tom, you never talk to me nowadays.
What did you say?
And you never listen to me either.
Pardon?
You used to take me out. You used to buy me presents, and you used to remember my birthday.
But I always remember your birthday, darling.
Do you? Well, it was yesterday. I'm going home to Mother.
Dorchester 17908.
Hello, Angela.
Oh, hello, Mum.
How's the baby today?
Oh, he's crying again. He cries all day.
Oh, you can't complain. When you were a baby, you used to cry all day and all night.
Oh, no, Mum. But I feel so tired. There's so much housework.
Oh, but you've got a washing machine, a tumble dryer, a vacuum cleaner and a dishwasher. I used to do everything by hand.
I know. I've heard all this before.
I'm sorry, dear. I'll come and help you.
Stanley, you used to be the best footballer in England. Are you going to come back and play again?
Oh, no, I'm not.
Why not?
Well, football used to be the most important thing in my life, but it isn't anymore. For 10 years I used to practice every day. I never used to smoke, drink, or stay up late.
Why has your life changed, Stanley?
Well, I was poor then, but I'm not now. I don't need to play football anymore.
Dad?
Yes?
There's a good film on in town.
Oh, yes. What is it?
War in Space.
Are you going to see it?
I'd like to. All my friends are going. But I haven't got any money.
All right. How much do you want?
£3.
£3? When I was your age, I only used to pay 5 pence for the cinema.
That was a long time ago, Dad.
Yes, but my father used to earn £3 for a week's work.
A busy office.
Yes, Miss Wright, what is it?
Mr. Hudson wants to speak to you, sir?
I'm very busy at the moment. Ask him to ring later.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and Miss Wright, tell Chris to photocopy the director's report.
Yes, sir. Anything else, sir?
Yes, tell Miss Davis not to ring her boyfriend on the office phone.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Power's secretary?
Yes, Hudson here.
I'm afraid Mr. Power's busy at the moment. Can you ring later?
All right. What about this afternoon?
Yes, that'll be all right. Oh, Chris?
Yes, Miss Wright?
Mr. Power wants you to photocopy this report.
Oh, yes, I'll do it later.
No, Chris, do it now. I know it's important. Miss Davis, did you ring your boyfriend on the office phone yesterday?
Well, yes, I did. But it was urgent.
I think Mr. Power heard you. He wasn't very pleased about it. Don't use the office phone for personal calls.
No. No, Miss Wright. I won't do it again. I'm sorry.
Miss Wright, did you speak to Mr. Hudson?
Yes, I did. I asked him to ring later. He says he'll ring you this afternoon.
That's fine. Has Chris photocopied that report yet?
Not yet, but I told him to do it immediately. I think he's doing it now.
Good. Did you tell Miss Davis not to ring her boyfriend from here?
Oh, yes. I told her not to use the office phone for personal calls. She says she won't do it again. I'm sure she won't.
I hope she won't. Her boyfriend lives in Australia.
The Smuggler. Sam Lewis was a customs officer. He used to work in a small border town. It wasn't a busy town, and there wasn't much work. The road was usually very quiet, and there weren't many travellers. It wasn't a very interesting job, but Sam liked an easy life. About once a week he used to meet an old man. His name was Draper. He always used to arrive at the border early in the morning in a big truck. The truck was always empty. After a while, Sam became suspicious. He often used to search the truck, but he never found anything. One day, he asked Draper about his job. Draper laughed and said, "I'm a smuggler." Last year, Sam retired. He spent his savings on an expensive holiday. He flew to Bermuda and stayed in a luxury hotel. One day he was sitting by the pool, and opposite him he saw Draper drinking champagne. Sam walked over to him.
Hello there.
Hi.
Do you remember me?
Yes, of course I do. You're a customs officer.
I used to be, but I'm not anymore. I retired last month. I often used to search your truck.
But you never found anything.
No, I didn't. Can I ask you something?
Of course you can.
Were you a smuggler?
Of course I was.
But the truck was always empty. What were you smuggling?
Trucks. I'm bored.
I'm bored.
Well, do something interesting.
What, for example?
Go to the cinema.
The cinema bores me.
Always?
Yes. All the films are so boring. I'm not interested in sex and violence.
Well, what interests you then?
Nothing.
You need some fresh air.
Have you heard the news, Bill?
No, why?
A war has just started in Mandanga.
Mandanga? Where's that?
Oh, I don't know exactly, but it's worrying. They showed a television report last night.
Well, I'm not worried about it. I never watch the news these days. I prefer sports programmes.
Why aren't you interested in the news?
Well, all the news is bad. I just want entertainment in the evenings.
What are you doing tonight, Mike?
I'm staying in. There's a good horror film on the telly.
What is it?
The Blood of Frankenstein.
Well, that sounds frightening.
Not really. I think horror films are amusing.
Amusing? Horror film?
Yes. I went with Anne to see Dracula last week. I was very amused. I laughed from beginning to end.
What about Anne?
Oh, she was terrified. She was under the seat.
Did you go to the football match on Saturday?
Yes, I did.
It was very exciting, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Both teams attacked.
Yes, 1-0, 1-all, 2-1, 2-all, 2-3, 3-all.
My brother was so excited near the end that he threw his hat in the air when Manchester scored their fourth goal.
Did he find his hat?
Yes, but it was a bit embarrassing. He had to ask a policeman for it.
advice.
What's the matter, Jenny? You look worried.
Yes, I'm trying to lose weight.
Oh, you don't need to lose weight.
Oh, I do. I've just bought some new jeans and I can't get them on. They're too tight.
Well, you should go on a diet.
I know. But what kind of diet?
You should eat lots of salad and fruit.
Yes, but I don't like salad. I prefer meat.
Well, you can eat meat, but you shouldn't eat too much. You shouldn't eat bread or potatoes either.
What about alcohol? Can I drink wine?
Oh, no, you should never drink alcohol.
What's the matter, Peter? You don't look very happy.
I'm not. I'm worried about my English.
What's the problem?
I'm not practicing enough.
Why not?
Well, it's difficult to meet English people.
You should go out more.
Where should I go?
Oh, you should go to pubs. You should join a club.
But English people never speak to me.
Ah, you should speak first.
What can I talk about?
The weather. English people are always interested in the weather.
Hello, Charles. You look tired today.
Yes, I'm working too hard.
Oh, you should take a holiday.
Yes, I know I should, but we're just too busy. I'm working 12 hours a day.
12 hours? You're going to kill yourself.
Well, what can I do?
Well, perhaps you should change your job.
I can't. I need the money.
An evening out.
Shall we go out tonight?
Okay, let's go to a restaurant.
Which one?
How about the Flamenco?
The Flamenco? Which one's that?
Don't you remember? That's the one that serves seafood.
Oh, yes.
Oh, look over there.
Where?
In the corner. It's Jack West, isn't it?
Where? I can't see him.
There, he's the one that's wearing a black suit.
Oh, the one that's talking so loudly. What about him?
He used to be at college with us. He was the only one that didn't pass the exams.
He looks very successful. What does he do now?
Nothing. He doesn't have to work.
Why not?
Well, you remember, don't you? He married Patty Hetty.
Patty Hetty?
Yes, the girl that inherited a fortune. Her father was a millionaire.
Ah, yes. Isn't she the one that killed herself?
Yeah, that's right, and he got all the money.
I've been waiting.
Hello, Miss Wright. Is the boss in?
Yes, Chris, he is. He's in his office, and he's waiting for you.
Oh. What time did he arrive?
He arrived at 20 to 10.
20 to 10? So he's been waiting for 20 minutes.
Hello, Judy. You've been sitting here for an hour. Where's your husband?
Oh, he's dancing with Mrs. Winston.
Oh, yes. He's dancing very well. Has he been dancing all evening?
Yes, he has. But he hasn't been dancing with me.
Hello, Mrs. Parker. Are you waiting to see Dr. Savage?
Hello, Mrs. Baker. Yes, I am.
How long have you been waiting?
I've been waiting since 9 o'clock.
Ah, so you haven't been waiting long. It's only 9:10 now.
No, I haven't. I've been reading this magazine. It's very interesting. There's an article about operations. Eric, call the waiter again.
I've been trying to call him.
Eric, we've been sitting here for 20 minutes, and I'm not going to wait any longer.
I'm sorry, dear, but he's talking to that girl.
Yes, he's been talking to her since we came in.
Waiter!
Yes, sir. Do you want the bill?
The bill? We haven't seen the menu yet.
A court case. A few months ago there was a bank robbery in Stanford. The police arrested a man and a woman. They're in court now. A woman saw the robbery. She's standing in the witness box. The judge and the 12 members of the jury are listening to her. A lawyer is asking her some questions.
Now, Miss Dexter, you saw the bank robbery, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
You saw a man, didn't you?
That's right. I saw him when he went into the bank and when he came out.
Now, look around the court. Can you see that man?
Yes. He's the man I saw.
He wasn't alone when he went into the bank, was he?
No, he was with a woman.
Now, look around the court again. Can you see that woman?
Yes, there. She's the woman I saw.
I see, Miss Dexter. Now, look at the man and woman again. This is very important. Are you absolutely sure about them?
Absolutely sure. They're the people I saw.
Now, Miss Dexter, what was the man wearing when he went into the bank?
I don't remember everything, but I remember his hat and his bag.
Look at the hat on the table. Is that the hat?
Yes, that's the hat he was wearing.
And the bag?
Yes, that's the bag he was carrying.
Do you remember anything about the woman?
Yes, she was wearing a blonde wig and black platform shoes.
How do you know it was a wig, Miss Dexter?
Because it fell off when she was running to the car.
Look at the wig on the table. Is that the wig?
Yes, that's the wig she was wearing.
And the shoes. Look at the shoes.
Yes, they're the shoes she was wearing.
Thank you, Miss Dexter.
The empty chair. A friend of mine, Rob Jenkins, almost had a nervous breakdown last year. I told him to go to the doctor.
Hello, Mr. Jenkins. What can I do for you?
Well, Doctor, I'm very tense and nervous. I haven't been able to sleep for several days.
Have you been working hard?
Oh, yes, I've been very busy. I've been working 12 hours a day.
Have you been taking any pills?
No, but I've been smoking too much and I've been drinking a lot of coffee.
Well, you should take a holiday. You should go somewhere quiet and peaceful. Like Cornwall. Why don't you go there?
Rob decided to go to Cornwall the next weekend. Penkey was a very small fishing village on the north coast of Cornwall. There were no trains or buses to Penkey, so he had to drive. It was a long journey, and Rob arrived late on Friday evening. The landlady of the guest house, Mrs. Doone, answered the door and showed him to his room. Rob was very tired and went straight to bed. He slept well and didn't wake up until 9 o'clock the next morning. Rob went downstairs for breakfast. Because there were no other guests, Mrs. Doone invited him to have breakfast with her and her daughter, Catherine. Catherine was already sitting in the dining room. She was about 13 years old, with long black hair and clear grey eyes. Mrs. Doone went to the kitchen to prepare breakfast. Rob and Catherine looked at each other nervously for a few seconds.
There are 4 places at the table. Is there another guest?
Oh, no. We never talk about the empty place.
The empty place? What do you mean?
Well, that used to be my father's place.
Used to be? I don't understand.
My father was a fisherman. 3 years ago he went out in his boat, and he never returned.
What happened to him?
Nobody knows. They searched everywhere, but they found nothing. My mother always keeps that place for him, and she makes his breakfast every morning. She thinks he'll come back. That's a photograph of him over there on the wall. My mother's been waiting for him for 3 years.
Rob said nothing, but he looked very worried. At that moment Mrs. Doone returned. She poured 4 cups of tea and put 1 cup in the empty place. Rob looked more worried, and he stared at the empty chair. Suddenly he heard footsteps outside the door, and a tall man with a black beard walked into the room. Rob looked terrified. It was the man in the photograph. He jumped up and ran out of the room.
Who was that? What's the matter?
I don't know. I don't understand. He's a guest from London. He arrived last night while you were asleep.
Catherine, do you know anything about this?
No, I don't, Father. But he's here because he's very nervous. He says he's hiding here because a tall man with a black beard is trying to kill him.
Catherine, have you been telling stories again?
Stories, Father? Me?
How long? How much?
Come in. You're Mr. Carson, aren't you? Please sit down.
Thank you.
What can I do for you, Mr. Carson?
Well, I want to borrow some money.
What for?
I want to buy a car. I've been saving for 2 years.
Ah. How much have you saved?
I've saved about £1,000.
What are you reading?
The Godfather. It's about the mafia in America. John told me to read it.
Oh, it's a very long book.
I know. I've been reading it for a month and I haven't finished it yet.
How many pages have you read?
About 400. I don't like long books.
Neither do I.
Petrol, sir? Please, fill it up.
Which grade?
4-star. It's nearly empty. I've been driving all day.
Oh, how far have you driven?
Oh, about 400 miles. I've driven from Scotland.
Oh, that's a long way. Shall I check the oil and water?
Please.
Hello, Jenny. You're still working? It's time for lunch.
I know, but I haven't finished these letters yet. They're important. Mr. Power wants them this afternoon.
How long have you been typing?
Since 9 o'clock. I didn't stop for coffee.
How many have you done?
Oh, most of them. There are only 2 left.
Well, do them after lunch.
No, I'll do them now.
Okay. See you this afternoon.
Look.
Nick Owen is a guide for Britannia Tours. Some new tourists have just arrived in Exmouth. He's showing them around the town.
I'm sure you'll enjoy your stay here. There's the beach that's the safest for swimmers. The other beaches aren't as good. And that's the shop that sells picnic lunches. Over there's the shop that sells souvenirs. I'll meet you back here at 4 o'clock.
Paul's showing Angela some holiday photos.
Look. This is the hotel I stayed in. And here's the restaurant I used to go to. I used to eat there every day. This is the beach we used to lie on. It was a marvellous holiday.
Anne's just had an accident. She's telling a policeman about it.
The car in front of me stopped suddenly. I managed to stop, but the van behind me didn't. It hit my car and pushed it into the car in front. There's my car. There's the van that hit my car. And that's the car my car hit.
Paul's showing Angela an old school photo.
The headmaster's in the middle. He's the one that taught us Latin. His lessons were very boring. The fat one on the left is Mr. Bunter. He's the one that used to hit us with a cane. Mr. Cherry's on the right. He's the one that taught us French and football. I was never bored in his lessons.
This is a picture of Ronald Rigg. He's the man the police arrested yesterday. He's standing next to P.C. Martin. Martin's the policeman that caught him. Booking in advance.
Hello, Old England Restaurant. Can I help you?
Yes, I'd like to book a table for tonight.
Yes, sir. What time?
8 o'clock.
Certainly, sir. For how many people?
There are 10 of us.
10 of you. We don't usually accept large parties, sir.
I know, but we are regular customers.
What's your name, please, sir?
Richard Burton.
Mr. Burton. Of course, that'll be all right. We'll put 2 tables together.
I'd like 2 seats for the concert on Thursday evening.
Yes, where would you like to sit?
I'm not sure.
Well, here's a seating plan of the concert hall.
How much is it in the middle?
£6.
£6? That's a little too expensive for us. How much is it there,
At the back.
£2.
That's fine. What time does the concert start?
At 7:30, sir.
Have you got any seats left for the Stratford excursion?
Yes, sir, there are a few seats left.
Is that the one that goes to Oxford as well?
That's right.
How long does the whole excursion take?
Approximately 10 hours, sir.
Shall I pay you now?
If you don't mind, sir.
Good morning, unisex hairdressers.
Good morning. I'd like to make an appointment, please, at 3 o'clock this afternoon with Marcel.
Let me see. I'm afraid Marcel's busy at 3, madam.
Oh, dear, Marcel always does my hair.
I'm sorry, madam.
Well, how about 4 o'clock?
I'm terribly sorry, madam. Marcel's busy all afternoon.
Oh, what a nuisance.
I'm very, very sorry, madam, but you should always book well in advance. A new job.
Alice, have you seen this ad in the paper?
Oh, yes. But I'm not interested in finding a new job. I've been here since I left school. I like working here.
Really? I've only been here for 2 months and I'm already tired of doing the same thing every day. I want some adventure.
Adventure? There's too much adventure in New York. People are afraid of walking in the streets.
Oh, come on, it's not that bad, and the salaries are fantastic.
I'm not interested in earning more money. I've got enough now.
Oh, yes, but you live at home with your parents.
But I like living with my parents. What's wrong with that?
Oh, nothing, but I like being independent. I like travelling. I enjoy meeting new people. I'm going to apply for the job.
Well, good luck.
The weather forecast. Paul and Judy live in Birmingham. It's a large city in the Midlands. They're planning a weekend holiday.
I know, Judy. Why don't we go to Scotland?
It's a very long way.
Oh, it isn't too far. Anyway, the motorway's very good, so we can get there quickly.
But Scotland's often cold at this time of the year. It may snow.
Well, yes, it may. But I don't think it will.
Oh, I'm not sure. It is February, and I'm frightened of driving in snow. And we may not be able to find a hotel. They may be closed.
That's no problem. I can book a hotel by phone.
Well, perhaps it's not a bad idea. We may have beautiful weather.
Oh, we'll enjoy ourselves anyway. Let's watch the weather forecast on television. We may not go to Scotland. We may go to Wales or London. We can decide after the forecast.
Good evening, and here is the weather forecast for tomorrow. Northern Scotland will be cold, and there may be snow over high ground. In the north of England, it will be a wet day, and rain may move into Wales and the Midlands during the afternoon. East Anglia will be generally dry, but it will be dull and cloudy. In southern England, it will be a bright, clear day with sunshine, but it may rain during the evening. In the southwest, it may be foggy during the morning, but the afternoon will be clear. It may be windy later in the day.
A restaurant kitchen.
Hurry up, Chef. The customers have been waiting for 10 minutes. They're hungry and they're getting angry.
I know, but I've only got one pair of hands. You'll have to help me.
Help you? That's not my job. I'm a waitress, not a cook.
Well, both of my assistants are off work.
All right. What shall I do first?
Well, start putting the meat on the plates and I'll prepare the vegetables.
Okay. Is that enough meat?
Oh, that's a bit too much. Take a bit off.
What about potatoes?
Oh, put on plenty of potatoes. They're cheap. And lots of peas.
All right, all right. Can I take them now?
Have you put the sauce on yet?
Eh? Oh, no, I haven't. Well, where is it?
Oh, here it is.
Oh, there isn't quite enough sauce here.
There's plenty in that pan over there.
Ah, yes. I've got it.
Fine. Now you can begin taking the plates to the customers.
Ow! They're hot.
Well, use a cloth. And don't carry too many plates. You may drop them.
No, I
won't drop them. I've never dropped a plate in my life.
Asking for directions.
Excuse me.
Yes?
I'm looking for the men's clothes department.
Ah, yes, sir. It's on the 4th floor. The lift's over there.
Thank you, but I'll use the stairs. I need the exercise.
Good morning. Can I help you?
Yes, I've got an appointment with Mrs. Truman, the sales manager.
What time is your appointment, sir?
11:30.
Right. Go up those stairs to the 1st floor. Take the corridor on the left. Mrs. Truman's office is the 3rd door on the right. You can't miss it.
Thank you.
Oh, sir.
Yes?
Don't bother to knock. Go straight in. She's expecting you.
Excuse me?
Yes?
I'm lost. Is this the way to Brighton?
No, I'm afraid it isn't. You're going the wrong way. This is the Portsmouth Road.
Oh, dear. Can you tell me the way to Brighton?
Yes, turn round and go back to the roundabout. Take the 3rd exit, that's the A272.
The A272?
That's right. You'll see signposts to Brighton from there.
Yes, please.
2 to Market Street, please.
36p.
Can you tell me when we get there?
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Air Sea Rescue.
This is the Radio 1 news desk. In Dorset, a helicopter is trying to rescue a man who has fallen down a cliff. He's lying on a small beach. An Air Sea Rescue helicopter has arrived at the scene, and one of the crew has climbed down a ladder to the beach. He's speaking to a doctor by radio.
Hello? Can you hear me, Doctor?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Is he unconscious?
No. He's conscious, but he looks pretty bad.
Okay. Ask him if he can move.
Can you move? No.
Ask him if he's in pain.
Are you in pain? Oh, yes.
Ask him where it hurts.
Where does it hurt? It's my back.
Right. Don't move him. I'm coming down.
Frank Aitken is the editor of the Daily News. He's sending a trainee journalist to interview the American singer Bob Sonata.
Now, I've arranged the interview for 4 o'clock at his hotel. Ask him lots of questions, you know, ask him if he likes England, ask him what his next record will be, when he recorded it, and ask him where. Ask him all the usual questions, but don't ask him how old he is, okay?
UFO. Ronald and Jean were driving along a quiet country road in southern England. They were on the way to Westbury. It was nearly midnight.
Ron, look over there. There's something in the sky. What is it?
I don't know what it is. It's probably a plane.
I don't think so. It's too big. And too bright.
Oh, no.
What's the matter?
Well, the engine stopped.
Why has it stopped?
I don't know why it stopped. We'll have to find a garage.
Is there one near here?
Yes. There's one in the next village, but I don't know if it's open. It's very late.
Suddenly there was a loud noise, and a big, bright silver object flew low over their car. It stopped in midair, turned round, and flew back over their car. Then it went straight up into the sky and disappeared.
Oh, Ron! What was that?
Huh? Don't ask me. I've got no idea what it was.
Oh, I'm frightened. Let's go.
We can't. The engine isn't working.
Oh, Try it again.
Well, that's strange. It's okay now. I wonder why it wasn't working.
Oh, Ron, do you think it was a UFO?
I don't know. I really don't. We should phone the police.
Ron, do you think they'll believe us?
A mugging. One night, Mrs. Riley, an elderly widow, was walking along a dark London street. She was carrying her handbag in one hand and a plastic carrier bag in the other. There was nobody else in the street except two youths. They were standing in a dark shop doorway. One of them was very tall with fair hair. The other was short and fat, with a beard and moustache. The youths waited for a few moments, and then ran quickly and quietly towards Mrs. Riley. The tall youth held her from behind, while the other youth tried to snatch her handbag. Suddenly Mrs. Riley threw the tall youth over her shoulder. He crashed into the other youth, and they both landed on the ground. Without speaking, Mrs. Riley struck both of them on the head with her handbag, and walked calmly away. The two surprised youths were still sitting on the ground when Mrs. Riley crossed the street towards a door with a lighted sign above it. Mrs. Riley paused, turned round, smiled at the youths, and walked into the South West London Judo Club.
An important visitor. The platform of Portsbridge Station is full of people. They're waiting for an important visitor, the Queen. They're expecting her to arrive soon. She's going to open a new secondary school, Portsbridge Comprehensive. The Mayor's secretary is telling him about the plans for the day.
She'll be here soon. We'll wait until we see the train. When the train stops, the band will start playing. Your son will give her some flowers when she gets off the train. You'll make a speech before she leaves the station. As soon as she arrives at the school, the children will begin cheering. After she opens the school, we'll go to the town hall. When she gets to the town hall, you'll make another speech. After you make the speech, we'll have lunch. Before she leaves Portsbridge, you'll give her a present from the town.
General Hospital. Mr. Wallace is in the maternity ward. His wife's going to have a baby.
Hello. You're Mr. Wallace, aren't you? Have you been waiting long?
Not really. Is there any news?
Not yet. We'll tell you as soon as there is. Have you thought of any names for the baby?
Oh, yes. If it's a girl, we'll call her Victoria. If it's a boy, we'll call him Jason.
Oh.
David Foster has had a serious accident. His wife's outside the operating theatre now.
Mrs. Foster, I'm Dr. Payne.
Oh, Doctor, how is he?
Well, I'm afraid we'll have to operate.
Oh, no. He's always been afraid of operations.
Don't worry. If we operate now, he'll be all right.
Oh, Doctor, do you really have to?
I'm afraid so. He's lost a lot of blood. If we don't operate, he'll die.
Mr. Frampton has just arrived at the hospital. He's going to have a minor operation tomorrow.
This is your bed, Mr. Frampton.
Oh, thank you, sister.
Now, could you get undressed and get into bed? There's a buzzer on the bedside table. If you press the button, someone will come at once.
Oh, I'm sure I won't need anything.
Well, don't forget. If you need anything, just press the button.
Oh, dear, how did this happen?
He was just playing with the saucepan, and he put it on his head, and now it's stuck.
Have you tried to get it off?
No, I'm afraid of hurting him.
Yes, if we pull too hard, we'll hurt him.
What are you going to do?
Well, if I don't get it off, he won't be able to eat.
Oh, no!
I'm only joking. If I put some soap on his head, it'll come off easily. At the races. Horse racing is a very popular sport in Britain. There are over 11,000 horses in training, and there's a race meeting almost every day of the year. Some of the prizes are worth thousands of pounds, and some of the horses are worth millions. Horses from all over the world enter for the big races. People bet on the horses, and if they're lucky, they can win a lot of money. Some people spend a lot of time studying the form of the horses. Others just guess. Look at the list of horses for the Hampshire Gold Cup. Study it, and try to choose the winner.
It's a lovely day here at Hurstwood Park. The horses are ready for today's big race, the Hampshire Gold Cup. And they're off. They've all started well. They're racing towards the first bend, and Dobbins in the lead, Concord second, and Chestnut Mare's third. Now they're approaching the first fence, and Dobbins fallen, but the jockey looks all right. And now Concord's in front. White Rum, the favourite, is at the back. Now they're entering the second bend, and they're all over the second fence. Cash Register has just passed Concord, and Sylvester Stallion has moved into third place. Then Irish Prince, then Tricky Dicky. Now they're coming round the third bend, and it's a very close race. And they've all jumped the third fence. And the favourite, White Rum, is coming through. The crowd is cheering wildly. They're over the last fence. There's only 300 metres to go, and all the horses are in a line. I can't see which one's in front. It's very, very close. It's a photo finish. What a race. But we'll have to wait for the result.
On the road.
Ben, you can't park here. There's a double yellow line.
Oh, we'll be back in a few minutes. It's okay.
Oh, no, it isn't. You'll get a parking ticket if you leave it here.
No, I won't. It's 5:30. All the traffic wardens have gone home.
Ben.
Yes?
Is this your car, sir?
Excuse me, may I see your licence?
I'm afraid I've left it at home.
In that case, you'll have to take it to the police station within 5 days.
But why?
You were speeding, sir.
But I was only doing 35.
There's a 30 miles an hour speed limit on this road, sir.
Is there? I didn't see the sign.
Well, sir, we've been following you.
So you were doing 35 too?
No, sir, we were doing 60 miles an hour. And we couldn't catch you.
Hello? Wadley's Garage?
Oh, good evening. I don't know if you can help me. My car's broken down.
We have a 24-hour breakdown service. Where are you?
I'm on the A357, just north of Ringbourne. My car's just past the Red Lion pub. It's a white MG.
Do you know what's wrong with it?
I've got no idea, but it won't start.
I'll send a mechanic out to you. He'll be there in about 10 minutes.
It's nothing serious, sir. You've run out of petrol.
Oh. Can you tow me to the garage?
Oh, that's not necessary. I've got a spare can of petrol in my truck.
Shall I pay you now, or shall I come to the garage?
You can pay me now.
Will you take a cheque? I've run out of cash, too.
Yes, that's okay.
Hold on. I can't find my chequebook. Emergency 999.
Emergency, which service, please?
Police.
Police here.
I've just seen 2 cars crash into a security van. I think it's a robbery.
Where?
Just outside the factory gates.
Which factory, sir?
Croxley Engineering. In Brook Lane.
The first police car got to the factory 3 minutes later, but it was too late. The robbers had gone. They had knocked out one of the security guards and shot the other. They were both lying on the ground near the van. The thieves had taken all the wages for the factory. The police called an ambulance and questioned 3 people who had seen the robbery.
Emergency, which service, please?
Fire.
Fire service.
Come quickly, Fenley's garage is on fire. The one in Churchill Road.
We'll be there in 2 minutes.
The fire engine got to the garage just in time. The showroom was burning, Fortunately, the fire hadn't reached the petrol pumps and hadn't spread to neighbouring houses. The firemen were able to put it out quickly. The fire had started in the office. Someone had thrown a lighted cigarette into a waste paper basket.
Emergency, which service, please?
Ambulance.
Ambulance service.
Hurry, there's a boy. He's in the canal, and I don't think he can swim.
Where are you, madam?
Oh, sorry. Near the bridge. The one in Balaclava Street.
We're on our way.
When the ambulance arrived, the boy was lying on the quay. A policeman had seen the boy in the water and had dived in and rescued him. The boy was all right. The policeman had given him artificial respiration. The ambulance took the boy and the policeman to hospital.
Readers' letters.
Have you ever had an embarrassing experience? Last week we asked readers to tell us about embarrassing experiences. We received hundreds of letters. Here is a selection.
My most embarrassing experience happened when I had just left university. I had just started teaching in a Liverpool secondary school. One morning my alarm clock didn't ring. I had forgotten to wind it up. I woke up at 8:30 and school began at 9. I quickly washed, shaved, dressed, jumped into my car and drove to school. When I arrived, the students had already gone into class. I didn't go to the staff room, but went straight into class. After 2 or 3 minutes, the students began laughing, and I couldn't understand why. Suddenly, I looked down and understood. I had put on one black shoe and one brown shoe. Stanley Hooper, B.A., Preston, Lancashire.
The most embarrassing experience I've ever had happened 2 years ago. My wife and I had driven into town to do some shopping. The streets were very busy and we were holding hands. Suddenly, my wife saw a dress that she liked in a shop window and stopped. I started looking at some radios in the next window. After a minute or two, I reached for my wife's hand. There was a loud scream, and a woman slapped my face. I hadn't taken my wife's hand. I'd taken the hand of a complete stranger. Len Bailey, Sheffield, Yorks.
My husband and I had decided to buy a new house, and I'd made an appointment to see our bank manager. I'd never met him before, and I was a bit nervous. I dove into town, and I was lucky enough to find a parking space outside the bank. I'd just started reversing into the space when another car drove into it. I was furious. I opened my window and shouted at the other driver. He ignored me and walked away. It took me 20 minutes to find another space. As soon as I'd parked the car, I rushed back to the bank. I was 10 minutes late for my interview. I went to the manager's office, knocked and walked in. The manager was sitting behind his desk. He was the man who had taken my parking space. Kate Kirby, Portsmouth, Hants.
Why don't you write and tell us about your most embarrassing experience?
A ghost story. Edgar and Catherine are staying in a cottage in the New Forest. It belongs to Edgar's uncle, and they've borrowed it for the weekend. It's Friday night. They arrived an hour or two ago, and they're sitting in front of a log fire.
Oh, Edgar, this house is fantastic. I love old houses.
There's a ghost here, you know.
Edgar, don't be silly. You're trying to frighten me.
Not at all. I've been coming here for years. We used to stay here when I was a child. I saw the ghost myself once.
Edgar, this isn't funny. It's late at night. Anyway, I don't believe in ghosts.
Don't you? I do.
Where did you see the ghost?
Upstairs, in the bedroom.
Ha ha. Did it have a white sheet over its head?
No, no. It was quite an ordinary ghost, really. He was wearing Victorian clothes.
He? Who?
The ghost, of course. I'll tell you about it. I'd been walking in the forest all day, and I was really tired, so I went to bed early.
Had you had anything to drink?
No, no.
Well, go on. What happened?
I'd been in bed for 2 or 3 hours.
How do you know that it was a few hours?
There's an old grandfather clock in the bedroom. You'll see it when we go upstairs. Anyway, the man was standing beside it.
What man?
The ghost, of course.
What did you do?
Nothing.
What did he say?
Nothing. He just stared at me.
How did he get into the room? Had you locked the door?
Yes, I had, and the window. It was a cold, foggy night.
Was there a fireplace?
Yes, but it was too small for a man to get down. Anyway, there'd been a fire.
What did you do?
I sat up and stared back at him. I was too shocked to move.
What happened? What happened?
Well, I don't know how long we'd been staring at each other, when suddenly I panicked and shouted. And he disappeared.
I don't believe it.
I didn't believe it myself at the time, but when I told some people in the village, they believed me. Some of them had seen the ghost themselves. They could even describe him. If you ask them, they'll tell you.
Edgar, put some more wood on the fire. I'm going to sleep downstairs tonight.
Buying a present.
Have you got Disco King, please?
Who's it by?
Soul Sensation. It's their latest single. It's just entered the charts. It's number 9 this week.
Hold on, I'll just look. Here you are.
Oh, thanks. And have you got the new LP by the Rats?
What? Teenage Revolution? Oh, yes, we've got that. It's a fantastic album, you'll love it.
Oh, it's not for me. It's for my grandmother. It's a birthday present.
I'm trying to find a Christmas present for my wife.
Yes, sir. What exactly are you looking for?
I'm not sure, really. Perhaps you can help me.
Right. I'll show you some bracelets.
No, I bought a bracelet for our wedding anniversary.
Maybe a ring, then. These rings are made of gold.
Yes. I like that one. What's the stone?
It's a diamond, sir. And it's only £2,000.
Ah. Well, perhaps you could show me some earrings, then.
Good morning. Perhaps you can advise me.
Yes, madam.
I'm looking for a toy for my nephew.
Oh, yes. How old is he?
He'll be 9 years old on Saturday.
Skateboards are still very popular?
I don't want him to hurt himself.
What about a drum set?
I don't think so. His father will be angry if I buy him one of those. Have you got anything educational? You see, he's a very intelligent boy.
I've got the perfect thing. A do-it-yourself computer kit.
Made in England.
I like your radio. Is it new?
Yes, I bought it last week. It's a Bisonic.
Bisonic? I've never heard of it. Where was it made?
I'm not sure. I think it was made in Japan. I'll have a look. No, I'm wrong. It was made in England.
A real bargain. Mr. Palmer is looking for a new house. He's tired of living in the city, and he wants to live in a quiet village. He's with the estate agent now.
Well, Mr. Palmer, this is the semi-detached house that I told you about, number 26 Richmond Road. The owners are away, but I've got a key.
When was it built?
It was built in 1928.
Who built it?
I'm not really sure. Is it important?
No, not really. Is that a new roof? It looks new.
It is nearly new. It was put on last year. You can see that it's in very good condition. The previous owner was a builder.
It's quite an old house. I'm worried about the electrical wiring. Has it been rewired?
Yes, it has.
Oh. When was it done?
5 years ago. Also, it's been redecorated. Central heating has been put in, and a new garage has been built.
Oh, when was that done?
Last year, I think. It's a very solid house. It's built of brick with a tile roof.
It's a long way from a big town. What are the services like?
Hold on, I've got the details here. Oh, yes, let me see. The dustbins are emptied every Thursday.
It's important for me to see the post before I go to work. When is it delivered?
It's usually delivered at about 7:30. The milk is delivered about 6 o'clock, so you'll have fresh milk for breakfast.
It's certainly very cheap. I've seen a lot of similar houses, and they're more expensive.
Oh, yes. It's a real bargain.
Are there any plans for the area?
Pardon? Plans? Well, a new school is going to be built in the village next year.
Anything else?
And a new road, motorway actually, will be built next year too. You'll be able to get to London easily.
Where exactly will the motorway be built?
Well, actually, it'll be built behind the house. A bridge will be constructed over the house. It will be very interesting. You'll be able to watch the traffic.
The 8 o'clock news.
Good evening, and here is the 8 o'clock news. Robert Gibbs, the great plane robber, has been caught in Montina. He was arrested in a Vanadello nightclub. He is being questioned at police headquarters, and he will probably be sent back to Britain. 2 British detectives left Heathrow earlier this evening, and they will help the police in Vanadello with their inquiries. In 1978, Gibbs was sentenced to 40 years in prison for his part in the great plane robbery. He escaped from Parkwood Maximum Security Prison in April. Since then, he has been seen in 10 different countries. The strike at Fernside Engineering in Birmingham has ended after talks between trade union leaders and management representatives. The strike began last weekend after a worker had been sacked. He had had an argument with a supervisor. 5,000 men went on strike. The worker has now been re-employed. Vic Bostic, the lead guitarist of the Rats pop group, is dead. He was found unconscious in his Mayfair flat early this morning. Bostic was rushed to St Swithin's Hospital, but doctors were unable to save his life. A number of bottles which had been found in his flat were taken away by the police. There is no more news about the famous Lanstable painting Norfolk Sunset, which was stolen last night from the National Gallery. The painting, which is worth £500,000, was given to the gallery in 1975. It hasn't been found yet, and all airports and ports are being watched. Cars and trucks are being searched. A reward of £10,000 has been offered for information. Jumbo, the Indian elephant which escaped from London Zoo this afternoon, has been caught. Jumbo was chased across Regent's Park and was finally captured at a hot dog stall in Regent's Park Road. A tranquilizer gun was used, and Jumbo was loaded onto a truck and was taken back to the zoo. At the zoo, he was examined by the zoo veterinary surgeon. Fortunately, no damage had been done, and Jumbo will be returned to the Elephant House later tonight. Jimmy McTavish, the Eastfield United and Scotland striker, has been transferred. The contract was signed at lunchtime. He was transferred to the American club, Miami Galaxy, for $3 million. McTavish, aged 23, was bought 2 years ago for a fee of £2,000 from a Scottish non-league club.
Elvis Presley, story of a superstar. When Elvis Presley died on the 16th of August 1977, radio and television programs all over the world were interrupted to give the news of his death. President Carter was asked to declare a day of national mourning. Carter said, "Elvis Presley changed the face of American popular culture. He was unique and irreplaceable." 80,000 people attended his funeral. The streets were jammed with cars, and Elvis Presley films were shown on television, and his records were played on the radio all day. In the year after his death, 100 million Presley LPs were sold. Elvis Presley was born on January the 8th, 1935, in Tupelo, Mississippi. His twin brother, Jesse Garon, died at birth. His parents were very poor, and Elvis never had music lessons. but he was surrounded by music from an early age. His parents were very religious, and Elvis regularly sang at church services. In 1948, when he was 13, his family moved to Memphis, Tennessee. He left school in 1953 and got a job as a truck driver. In the summer of 1953, Elvis paid $4 and recorded 2 songs for his mother's birthday at Sam Phillips' Sun Record Studio. Sam Phillips heard Elvis and asked him to record That's All Right in July 1954. 20,000 copies were sold, mainly in and around Memphis. He made 5 more records for Sun, and in July 1955 he met Colonel Tom Parker, who became his manager in November. Parker sold Elvis's contract to RCA Records. Sun Records got $35,000, and Elvis got $5,000. With the money, he bought a pink Cadillac for his mother. On January the 10th, 1956, Elvis recorded Heartbreak Hotel, and 1 million copies were sold. In the next 14 months, he made another 14 records, and they were all big hits. In 1956, he also made his first film in Hollywood. In March 1958, Elvis had to join the army. He wanted to be an ordinary soldier. When his hair was cut, thousands of women cried. He spent the next 2 years in Germany, where he met Priscilla Bewley, who became his wife 8 years later on May the 1st, 1967. In 1960, he left the army and went to Hollywood, where he made several films during the next few years. By 1968, many people had become tired of Elvis. He hadn't performed live since 1960, but he recorded a new LP, From Elvis in Memphis, and appeared in a special television program. He became popular again and went to Las Vegas, where he was paid $750,000 for 4 weeks. In 1972, his wife left him, and they were divorced in October 1973. He died from a heart attack. He'd been working too hard and eating and drinking too much for several years. He left all his money to his only daughter, Lisa Marie Presley. She became one of the richest people in the world when she was only 9 years old.
If I had enough money.
I've got £3,500. I'm going to look at the car. If I like it, I'll buy it.
That's a nice car. But I haven't got enough money. If I had enough money, I'd buy it.
I've worked for an oil company for 10 years. I'm a Bachelor of Science in Engineering. I've got the qualifications. I'm going to apply for the job. If they offer me the job, I'll certainly take it.
I like that job, but I can't apply for it. I haven't got the qualifications. If I had the qualifications, I'd apply for it.
I'm a mechanic, and I know a lot about cars. I've got a clean driving license and enough money. If they ask me, I'll go with them.
I've got £1,000 and a driving license. I know very little about cars. If I knew something about cars, I'd go with them.
I can speak French and German. I'll apply for the job. If I get it, I'll have to move to Switzerland.
I can speak French, but I can't speak German. If I could speak German, I would apply for the job.
I'm 19 and I'm interested in the job. I'll get more information if I phone them, and if the salary's good, I'll apply.
I'm interested in the job, but I'm too old. If I were younger, I'd apply.
In a restaurant.
Good evening, sir. Madam, shall I take your coats?
Thank you. Where shall we sit, Barbara?
Oh, would you like to sit over here, sir, near the window?
Ah, yes. Could we see the menu? Certainly. Here it is. Do you fancy a starter?
I think I'll have the prawn cocktail. I'm very fond of prawns. What about you?
I'm not sure. I can't decide.
Oh, I'd have the trout if I were you. You always say that you like trout, and you haven't had it for a long time.
Are you ready to order yet, sir?
Yes. A prawn cocktail for my wife, and the trout for me.
And the main course, sir?
Veal for my wife. I can't decide between the veal and the chicken. What do you recommend?
Oh, if I were you, I'd have the veal. It's the speciality of the house. What would you like with the veal?
2 mixed salads, please.
Any vegetables, sir?
Yes, some cauliflower, some courgette, and some boiled potatoes, please.
Anything to follow?
Can we order that later?
Oh, of course, sir. Would you like to see the wine list?
Yes. We'd like a bottle of dry white wine.
May I suggest something?
Of course.
Why don't you try a bottle of English wine?
English wine?
Yes, it isn't very well known, but it's being produced in the south of England now. You'll be surprised. It's very good.
North Sea oil.
Good evening. This is London Radio. Welcome to Man in the Street. Our program tonight is about North Sea oil. Oil was first discovered beneath the North Sea in the late 1960s. Since then, more and more oil has been found off the coasts of Britain and is being brought ashore. We aren't going to become very rich, but we must decide how to spend the oil revenues. Our interviewer went into the streets to ask people their opinion. He asked, if you were the Prime Minister, what would you do with the money?
Well, of course I'm not the Prime Minister, but if I were, I'd spend the money on more hospitals and schools. We need more doctors, nurses and teachers. Classes are too big. If classes were smaller, children would learn more. And there aren't enough nurses either, because salaries are too low. If the salaries were higher, more people would become nurses. Money which is spent now on education and health is an investment for the future.
I think the answer is quite simple. Taxes are much too high in this country, aren't they? I would reduce them. If we reduced taxes, people would have more money. If they had more money, they'd spend more. Industry would have to produce more, so it would need more workers. There would be more jobs, and we would all be richer.
I'm very worried about inflation. I'd try to control prices. If I were the Prime Minister, I'd reduce the price of gas, coal and electricity. If we did that, everybody would benefit, wouldn't they? Food is much too expensive. I'd encourage the farmers to produce more food more cheaply. However, there are some things that I certainly wouldn't do. I certainly wouldn't build more roads, and I wouldn't spend money on guns and tanks and warplanes.
There's too much crime and violence nowadays. There aren't enough policemen on the streets. I'd increase the size of the police force, and I'd increase their salaries. If we had more policemen, we'd all feel safer. I'd also increase old age pensions. I've worked hard all my life, and I should have a reasonable standard of living.
Mad killer strikes again.
Los Angeles Daily Echo. Tuesday, April 12th. Mad killer strikes again. Central Los Angeles was rocked by another car bomb explosion last night. Dr. Martin was killed when he started his car outside the General Hospital. 5 doctors have been killed this year by car bombs. Nobody knows why they were killed or who killed them. A warning letter was sent to the Daily Echo 2 days ago. Detective Leo Lasky has been put in charge of the investigation.
Thanks for phoning me.
Well, it's important. We received another warning this morning. Another doctor will be killed on Saturday.
This killer must be found. If he isn't caught quickly, more people are going to be killed.
Yeah, well, he must be found by tomorrow.
There are 5 million people in this city. We haven't got any clues. It can't be done.
Yeah, well, it must be done, Leo. It must be done.
Places that have explosives must be checked, and quickly.
It's being done, Leo. I gave instructions this morning.
I want you to help me, Doctor.
Help you? Of course I'll help you. I may be killed next. Well, Lasky, you've had a warning. You should catch the madman this time.
We had a warning last time, Doc, but he couldn't be found in time.
This killer hates doctors. Why?
Well, maybe a relative or friend died at the hospital. Can I see your records from 4 months ago? The murder started then.
Lasky worked for hours. At last, he found something. 4 months earlier. There had been a car crash. A man and his wife were taken to the hospital. The wife died in the operating theater. The husband threatened revenge. He blamed the doctors. Detectives went to the man's house, but he had moved away. His photograph was shown on television. At 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, Lasky received a phone call. The man had been seen in a parking lot 2 blocks away from the hospital. Police cars raced to the scene. When the police arrived, they saw the man. He was lying underneath a car. He jumped up and started to run, but there were police everywhere. He jumped into the car. And there was a terrible explosion. He had killed himself with his own bomb.
Four reports. Laura Bruce is a trainee reporter for the London Evening Echo. Last week, several famous people arrived at London Airport. Laura was sent to interview them. Nobody told her very much.
I'm very busy. I've got a lot of appointments. I can't say very much. I love England. I've been here many times before. I enjoyed my visit in January. I'll only be in England for 12 hours. I'm going to meet the Prime Minister. I have no other comments.
Dr. Sawanso visited England yesterday. He arrived at London Airport at 10 a.m. and we asked him to comment on the international situation. He just made a brief statement. He said he was very busy and that he'd got a lot of appointments. He said he couldn't say very much, but he said he loved England. He said that he had been here many times and that he had enjoyed his visit in January. He said he would be in England for only 12 hours and that he was going to meet the Prime Minister. He said he had no other comments.
I like newspaper reporters, but I haven't got time to say much. Just that I'm the greatest. I've always been the greatest, and I always will be the greatest. I can beat anybody in the world. I've beaten Leo Fink before. I knocked him out in Miami, and I'm going to knock him out in San Paulo. I'll be the champion forever. Excuse me.
Brutus Cray stopped at London Airport on his way from Frankfurt to Sao Paulo.
I managed to see him in the VIP lounge. Brutus was in a hurry. He said he liked newspaper reporters, but that he hadn't got time to say much. He said he was the greatest, he had always been the greatest, and he always would be the greatest. He said he could beat anybody in the world. He also said he had beaten Leo Fink before. He said he had knocked Fink out in Miami and that he was going to knock him out in Sao Paulo. He also said he would be the champion forever.
Examination day.
Hey, Maria! Have you finished your exam?
Yes, I have.
Was it difficult?
Well, it was quite hard.
Did you pass?
I don't know. She didn't tell me.
What questions did she ask?
First, she asked me what my name was.
Oh, that was easy, wasn't it?
Then she asked me where I came from and how long I'd been studying at the school.
And what else did she ask?
She asked when I had begun studying English, and she asked how I would use English in the future.
Go on, go on.
Then she asked me if I liked the school and if I lived with my parents.
Anything else?
Oh, Victor, I'm trying to remember. Oh, yes. She asked if I spoke any other languages.
Is that all?
Oh, there were a lot of other questions. She asked me what my hobbies were, and she asked me to tell her about them. Then she gave me a picture and asked me to describe it. Oh, and then I was asked to read a passage.
What did she say at the end?
She asked me to tell you to go in, immediately.
But you said...
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, madam.
I'm interested in the holiday in St. Cuthbert.
Ah, yes, the Caribbean. I can recommend it highly.
Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
Of course, madam. It's an excellent package holiday. You'll travel on a scheduled flight. You'll be met at the airport and taken to your hotel. You won't have to pay airport taxes. They're included in the price. The hotel is very near the beach, and it's got a swimming pool and a discotheque. It's a very modern hotel. It was built last year. The restaurant's superb, and drinks are very cheap in St. Cuthbert. Oh, and you can walk to the sea in 2 minutes.
Sounds good. I'd like to make a reservation.
One moment, madam, and I'll get you a booking form.
Marion paid a deposit and booked the holiday. 2 months later she was in St. Cuthbert. But she was disappointed. When she returned to England, she went to see the travel agent.
Ah, it's Miss Ward. Did you have a good holiday?
No, I certainly did not have a good holiday.
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. What was wrong?
Well, when I arrived in St. Cuthbert, I had to spend 4 hours at the airport. You said that we would be met, and we weren't. You also said that we would be taken to the hotel. We weren't, and the taxi cost about £12. You told me that airport taxis were included. In fact, I had to pay £10.
Oh, dear. You had a very bad start. But the hotel was nice, wasn't it?
No, it was not. You said it was very modern. You were quite right. They hadn't finished building it. We couldn't sleep because the workmen were working all night. On our balcony. You said it had got a swimming pool. It had, but it was empty. And the restaurant. The restaurant served fish every night.
Oh, dear.
You said that the hotel was near the beach and that we could walk to the sea in 2 minutes.
Couldn't you?
Oh, yes, we could. But there was an oil refinery between the hotel and the beach, and it took half an hour to walk round it.
Oh, I'm really terribly sorry. We really didn't know. I'm afraid we're unable to give you a refund, but we can give you a 10% discount on next year's holiday.
Next year? Next year I'm staying in England.
Having things done.
Sorry I'm late. I couldn't start the car this morning.
Well, winter's coming. It was probably cold.
It needs a service, really. But garages are so expensive nowadays.
Can't you service it yourself?
Who, me? I don't know anything about cars.
If I were you, I'd have it serviced. The garage that I use is very reasonable and have the radiator filled with antifreeze. They say it's going to be a cold winter.
Do you know where there's a good dry cleaners?
Yes, there's a good one in Victoria Road. I'd go there if I were you.
Oh, thanks. I want to have my suit cleaned. I'm going to a wedding on Saturday.
Well, I had my suit cleaned there last week, and they did a good job.
Excuse me, do you do alterations?
Yes, we do. What kind of alteration do you want?
I'd like to have this skirt lengthened. It's too short for me.
That's fine. It'll take about a fortnight.
And at the same time, I want to have this dress shortened. It's a bit too long.
Good. Would you mind just putting the skirt on first? There's a changing room over there.
Hello. Can I make an appointment to see the optician?
Yes. Would next Friday be convenient, at 3 o'clock?
Oh, yes. I want to have my eyes tested. I think I need some new glasses. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Oh, be careful. That isn't a door, it's a window.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
The appointment. Once upon a time, there was a rich caliph in Baghdad. He was very famous because he was wise and kind. One morning he sent his servant, Abdul, to the market to buy some fruit. As Abdul was walking through the market, he suddenly felt very cold. He knew that somebody was behind him. He turned round and saw a tall man, dressed in black. He couldn't see the man's face, only his eyes. The man was staring at him, and Abdul began to shiver. "Who are you? What do you want?" Abdul asked. The man in black didn't reply. "What's your name?" Abdul asked nervously. "I am Death," the stranger replied coldly, and turned away. Abdul dropped his basket and ran all the way back to the caliph's house. He rushed into the caliph's room. "Excuse me, master, I have to leave Baghdad immediately," Abdul said. "But why? What's happened?" the caliph asked. "I've just met Death in the market," Abdul replied. "Are you certain?" said the caliph. "Yes, I'm certain. He was dressed in black, and he stared at me. I'm going to my father's house in Samara. If I go at once, I'll be there before sunset." The caliph could see that Abdul was terrified, and gave him permission to go to Samara. The caliph was puzzled. He was fond of Abdul, and he was angry because Abdul had been badly frightened by the stranger in the market. He decided to go to the market and investigate. When he found the man in black, he spoke to him angrily. "Why did you frighten my servant?" "Who is your servant?" the stranger replied. "His name is Abdul," answered the caliph. "I didn't want to frighten him. I was just surprised to see him in Baghdad." "Why were you surprised?" the caliph asked. "I was surprised because I've got an appointment with him tonight in Samara."